of this magnificent window of St. Paul in this chapel of new evangelization for obvious reasons. He's the first great evangelist in the church. Notice he's holding this scroll with that wonderful citation from his letters. Woe to me if I do not evangelize. I do not preach the gospel. Paul's whole life was about evangelization. I want the seminarians who come in here to pray to have that same kind of conviction. Also, Paul's here because he's the second half of John Paul's name. And also, I don't know any figure in the tradition who's more Pauline than Karl Wojtyła. I think still the most traveled human being in history. So he, like Paul, went out to proclaim the gospel. Notice now, just above his head, you've got the crown and cross, which is a symbol of martyrdom. So Paul, of course, gives his life for the faith. You come down the other side, you see the ship, Paul, who went on many missionary journeys. In those days, of course, traveling by sea was a bit, for us, like traveling to the moon. It was something very dangerous, very adventurous. Paul did many, many of these missionary trips. I love this detail further down, a depiction of the statue of St. Paul, which is on our campus. Just in front of the faculty building on this high tower is a depiction of Paul. So often the windows are going to quote the campus here. I love that little touch. You see the chains there. Paul was kept in chains several times in his life. He was a prisoner for Christ, including at the very end. This detail is lovely here, the three fountains, the Tre Fontane. The legend is that when Paul was beheaded outside of Rome, his head bounced 3 times, and each spot where it bounced, a fountain sprang up. That's why the monastery in that site is still referred to as the Tre Fontane. So those are symbols that speak of Paul's life and career. Notice down here the lower scene is, I think, very beautifully rendered. It shows, of course, Paul's conversion on the road to Damascus. It's quoting Michelangelo's famous depiction of that scene. One of the details I love is off on the left side, there's a picture of a Roman soldier, and he's toppling off of his pillar. That's an ancient reference, that when Paul was converted, it meant the end of the Roman system of life and so on. So it's the transition to the Christian thing. So again, a very beautiful window. All the windows have this little detail of the faceted glass. It looks like jewels. The idea is they're now in the heavenly space, and these are the stars, if you want, shining in the heavenly sky. One thing I've noticed as I've prayed in this chapel in front of these 2 windows, toward the end of the day when the western sun comes in, it catches these faceted pieces in a very beautiful way, and they do indeed look like the stars coming out. Again, my hope is that for the next 100 years or more, seminarians coming to this chapel will be inspired by these great figures.